Welcome back to the portfolio updates. Currently, my two stock portfolios sit at a combined value of just over $42,000. This is made up of 16,000 USD, which is roughly 25,000 AUD, and my 17,000 AUD in my Vanguard account. Quickly going through, you can see my stake portfolio has traded down today and has been on a bit of a downturn, having previously been up over 15, 16 and even 17%, and has now come down to over 10%. Overall, going through my portfolio, not much has changed, but I did make a recent investment into Apple. Apple is actually my biggest individual stock holding. Along with Microsoft, it takes up 17% of my US portfolio. It was around $287 in, which is around 450 AUD at the time. Since this month, I've also gotten Microsoft dividend, I've put in my deposit, and then I've also gotten the Costco dividend as well. Whilst these are small, they are slowly growing, and my goal for this portfolio is actually not dividends, it's just capital growth. My Vanguard account is a bit more of my dividend payment account, and my one where I hope to get franking credits, where my stake account is just for capital gains. Overall, the portfolio has been pretty steady and has been trading pretty flat, but going through it, Apple is still one of my largest holdings, with it now overtaking Microsoft after the recent investment, sitting at around 2,784. Next is Amazon, which is a tiny position in my portfolio, which I'm likely to sell out of, which is $57. Next is Costco, which is $1,093, and takes up close to 8 or 9 or 10% of my overall stock portfolio. Then we have Google at around 518, which again, like Amazon, is a position that I've trimmed down a lot and is getting quite small. It's actually my only position I'm actually in the negative in at the moment. JP Morgan is my next position, which is around 1,234, and I'm in the green for that one, around 5%. Overall, with my JP Morgan position, it is another one that I've been investing in, and I've actually been looking at what I want to do with it going forward. Microsoft is another position of mine. Like I said, it used to be my biggest with Apple, but has now slowly lagged behind. I'm still in the green around 21%, but I've previously been up in the 30s, so it has traded down. Next is my biggest by far, and that's VOO. VOO is just an S&P 500 market tracking ETF, and it's sitting at around $7,753. My long-term goal for this account is to get this up to around $20,000 around middle of next year. My goal with my Vanguard account has been to grow it even more, as fast as I can, and hopefully hit $20,000 prior to the end of the year. For a long time, I was mainly just invested into my stake account, and this made up the majority of my stock portfolio. Since around middle of the year, I've been investing in my Vanguard account, and it's now actually overtaken my stake account in just the sheer number. Obviously, if you do the currency conversion from USD to AUD, it's still a long way behind my stake account, my Vanguard account is, but it's slowly creeping up, and it means my next dividend payments will be quite large. Having another quick look through of how the market has traded in this recent month, and you can see it is technically in the green, and I have been looking at potentially buying into the dips and investing in some extra money, but I did put another $1,000 in my Vanguard account, but more on that to come later. Overall, it's been an up and down time, and the market has recently been trading a little bit more flat in comparison to the nice run up it had at the start of the year. My recent investment into Apple was after the dip, and it went down to around 176. Apple was previously trading at basically $190 a share, and then after its release and its new iPhone 15, it traded down, and this is when I thought it was a good time to potentially get back into the stock. Apple is a company I believe in long term, but it's always hard to justify when you're buying in, due to its incredibly high prices. Overall, after you can see it's traded down a little bit, I figured it was a good time to buy in, and hopefully reap the benefits long term, as this isn't a stock that I see myself selling out of anytime soon. The next stock I wanted to go through as well is another one that I plan on investing a little bit more money into, hopefully if it dips sooner than later, and that's Costco. Costco again has had a strong 3 months, up 8%, But I looked at moments like this when it traded down to the 530s and wish I'd put some extra money into it. If I can get it under 550, it's definitely something I'm looking at putting money into, as this is a stock that can sometimes chop and down and is very volatile at times. Overall, with this portfolio, up until the end of the year, I have no set amount that I want to get it to, but if I could potentially get it to something like 17,000, I'd be more than happy, as it hasn't been my main goal at the moment. My next account I want to go through is my Vanguard account, and that's sitting at around $17,138. Like I said, I've recently put a deposit in of around $1,000 and will go through my individual holdings. Looking at my holdings, you can see that my biggest position by far is VLC, which is Australia's large company index ETF. This just tracks the 20 biggest Australian companies, and my position in it is now $10,536. That's 144 shares, and the price is currently sitting at $73. Overall, the reason I'm choosing to invest into this instead of another ETF like VAS or even into my VHY position is strictly because I believe the top 20 companies in Australia will be the ones that reap the most rewards as it continues to expand, and I believe those are the ones that are real staples in the economy. With this portfolio, I am still focused on growth, but I'm still trying to grow my dividends, and my growth portfolio, which is my stake one, is already doing that in terms of looking for capital gains. With this account, I'm looking for more stability and kind of a long-term investment plan, and just trying to grow this one slowly, and then eventually, and hopefully with the future dividends, I can draw those out and use those to live on as just extra or spending money. Overall, the plan with this one, as stated early, is to get it to $20,000. I can definitely see that happening, as it's only $2,900 away, and the rate that I've been saving, it will definitely get there. My recent deposit of $1,000 all went to Worlds VLC to get it over 10,000. My next deposits will likely go to VGS as I try to get that to 7,000, and maybe a little bit into VHY just to continue diversifying. Overall, my next dividends are coming out soon. I believe it potentially could be next month, and hopefully I'll be looking at around $200 and something worth of dividends, which for me is a decent amount considering how quickly this account has grown. Overall, for this recent month, the goal has just been to keep it steady and keep going towards my goals. I've had some recent setbacks in terms of savings with my travel and with my studies, but the goal is to continuously keep putting in money no matter what's going on and growing the balances. I have no control over what the market does, whether it trades up or down, but I can control how much money I put in and the consistency in which I do that. Overall, this just helps show a bit more of a breakdown of how my portfolios are both weighted, both my Australian and my American portfolio. You can see that my VOO position is clearly my biggest and takes up around 48% of my portfolio. The goal is to continuously keep that around 50%, so I will be investing a little bit more as I try to balance out my portfolio. Both Apple and Microsoft are 17% respectively, and I'll probably hope to get those down to around 15% each, and then I'll keep diversifying into things like Costco and other good companies that I look for. Overall, you can see my Australian portfolio, where VLC is by far the biggest position, holding around 61% of my portfolio. VHY is quite small with 4%, and my international index is around 35%. I track them each month just to see how they've grown, and you can see the steady, consistent growth across both of those portfolios. It's even better seen in these graphs. Hopefully I continue to grow these portfolios and get the valuation to over $60,000 before the end of the year. That would be a big goal of mine, but it is probably out of reach, so if I can get it to around $50,000 to $55,000, that would also tick the box. This was just a little bit of an overview of how my portfolio has been sitting as a 21-year-old investor here in Australia. The goal is to just continuously build these towards another income source and potentially even draw from this when I use it as a deposit for a first house. Feel free to share how your investments are going and how your portfolio has traded over the last month, and I'll continue to update this portfolio each month or week to track it and look back about the growth of my journey. Cheers.